The Sig Sauer P320 is one of the most popular handguns in the U.S. There are millions of P320s in circulation. Every branch of the U.S. military uses a version of the gun. In 2018, the Texas Department of Public Safety acquired 4,000 P320s as one of its duty weapons. And the Grange Police Department issued P320s to its officers. But as you're about to hear, one Grange police officer says his gun has a potentially fatal flaw that almost cost him his life.
We got medics and officers in round.
Can you help me?
801 Hanachek Lane is the entrance to Northside Park in Grange, Texas. And on May 9th, 2024, it was the scene of a shooting.
Hang in there, Currington.
Grange police officer Kevin Currington was doing his rounds.
So I was working night shift, and you know, when it starts getting dusk, you're going to close our city parks to stop vandalism and whatever.
After Officer Currington locked the gate, he started walking back to his car.
And all of a sudden, boom, heard an explosion.
Hang in there, buddy, hang in there.
I thought my tire had blown on my car, but then I felt the pain.
Officer Currington was shot in the line of duty.
I didn't see any thought.
And I looked down and saw the blood.
Officer Currington started to faint but was able to key his radio.
I got on the radio to tell them where I was at and to get me EMS, and then after that, I collapsed.
She thought you heard a shot.
Mike Peckall lives nearby and says his wife heard something.
She was in the garden and she flagged me down because she heard a shot.
Mike went to check on Officer Currington and found him in a pool of blood.
It was pretty unnerving, you know, because I could see, you know, the jeans tore, all the blood coming out of his right leg that I said, man.
Mike used his belt as a tourniquet.
Wrapped it around his leg best I could is all I had to work with. Seconds were hours. Then I got on his radio and started hollering at them for help, to please hurry. I just said, officer down, officer down.
Officer Currington nearly died. The prime suspect, his service weapon, a Sig Sauer P320, similar to this one. Here is audio from the first Grange police officer on the scene.
Here's the casing. He just told me it went off. I asked him if there was a shooter. He said no, it just went off, and he could barely get that out to me.
They asked me if his gun was holstered or if I put his gun back in, and I said no. Did not touch his gun.
Officer Currington says his gun was locked and holstered on his hip when it fired out of the blue.
And I wasn't even touching, I was just walking. And that's, you know, when that explosion happened, I'm like, what the heck was that?
A quick Google search shows Officer Currington is not alone. A report from the Trace revealed Sig Sauer P320s wounded more than 80 people who didn't pull the trigger. This is one of the first documented cases in 2016. A Roscommon, Michigan deputy sheriff's fully holstered P320 discharged without a trigger pull as he exited his vehicle.
What the hell? Explain to me how a gun goes off getting out of the car.
But this has happened well over 200 times around the country.
Attorney Jeff Bagnell is trying to get Sig Sauer to issue a warning and recall the P320. His client, Bridge City, Texas detective Brittany Hilton, was shot when her holstered P320 went off in her purse.
It hit her in her pelvis, her pelvic area, and caused severe damage to her, lost an enormous amount of blood. It did leave shrapnel in her pelvis.
But the federal judge sided with Sig Sauer and the claim that something or someone pulled the trigger, which Bagnell says is impossible. Bagnell says the gun was rushed into production to secure a $580 million contract with the Army in 2017.
What we contend, Walt, is that this gun has a very poor build quality to it. We contend that SIG rushed this into production. It was their first ever striker-fired gun.
Hello, and thank you for calling Sig Sauer.
I called Sig Sauer's headquarters for an on-camera interview. After leaving a few messages, the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications, Samantha Pyatt, sent me this statement saying, quote, "The design of the Sig Sauer P320 model pistol is truly innovative and safe, with numerous related patents, including several relating to safety mechanisms. It is among the most tested, proven, and successful handguns in recent history, with versions being selected as the official sidearm of the U.S., Canadian, Australian, and Danish militaries. Sig Sauer is extremely proud of our long history of producing high-quality firearms and our unwavering dedication to safety.
The bullet broke my fibula. It hit an artery and a nerve. And so they had to open my leg up to relieve pressure to where that stuff wouldn't build up, an infection, to keep me from losing the leg, because that's a possibility.
It's upsetting to see another officer, 8 years after this problem was brought to Sig's attention, nearly lost his life.
Officer Currington says he just wants Sig Sauer to do the right thing.
Fix the problem. They keep trying to deny that there's a problem. After I had no idea about this gun. I don't want anybody else to ever go through what I went through. Thinking you're gonna die, thinking about your wife and son, you know, not gonna see them again. What are they gonna go through? I mean, all that stuff goes through your head.